Feeling the positive vibe of downtown, and that's dearly going to be missed. I mean, look at this. It's tragic.
Tonight, a ripple effect after a fire destroys several historic buildings in downtown Salt Lake City. We've got reaction from business owners. And firefighters saying lessons can be learned tonight.
We were really fortunate to not have any civilian injuries or deaths.
In an exclusive story, we've got their reaction as they see the damage from inside KSL's Chopper 5. Plus, wildfires remaining top of mind all across the state. What crews were doing up some popular canyons today, right now on KSL 5 News at 6.
Live and streaming, this is KSL News at 6.
I mean, it's awful to have it be your business. Two of your businesses going up in flames.
We were quite fortunate that we were able to stop the fire where we did.
Tonight, businesses in the heart of Salt Lake City's entertainment district facing a devastating reality. What is next after a fire ripped through and gutted 4 bars and restaurants? Deanie Wimmer field anchoring for us tonight at Ground Zero. And Deanie, this fire left behind a lot of damage.
It left behind a ton of damage, and we've moved down the street so you can see it right from street level at Ground Zero. So walk with me here, Nathan. This is Los Tapatios, and you can see from the front, there's just nothing left. That's devastation. This is the London Bell, and firefighters say this is where the fire started. You can see blue sky through that building. There's nothing left hardly in there. And then watch out for the wood, Nathan. This is Whiskey Street. You can see the roof on that building collapsed. So that's the storefronts, and what we're seeing now is dozens of employees who would have reported to work right now coming here. Many are shedding tears. They're consoling each other because there's no work left to report to. Now, we have video that shows you the fire, the scene of the fire that our teams arrived on last night. It was an intense fire. Officials with Salt Lake Fire Department tells us that some of these businesses were actually open at the time of the fire, just before 9 o'clock. And fortunately, they were less busy because it was a weeknight. We're told at least 3 firefighters were injured. 1 went to the hospital. They estimate there is $5 million in damage, though city officials think it might be higher than that. Firefighters say they got a call to a kitchen fire at London Bell that spread to the attic of those adjacent businesses, and you can see that. We're told the investigation will likely continue for the next few weeks, but as you will see, the impact of this fire is going to last much longer than that. We have team coverage tonight, beginning with some video of what firefighters, we took them up in Chopper 5 today so they could get a view down below of the damage of this fire. Andrew Adams spoke to the firefighters this afternoon. Andrew, what was their reaction when they saw that?
Well, certainly crews will tell you that something like this is definitely a learning experience after the fact. And the firefighter we took up in Chopper 5 was already starting to assess what might be learned when crews battle fires like these in the future.
You know, it's a whole different ballpark when you see it from this vantage point.
From the air, it was clear to see the potential for even greater hazard.
The air quality was really bad, and we had a lot of pedestrian traffic.
And as it was, the devastation from the 3-alarm fire was obvious.
We were really fortunate to not have any civilian injuries or deaths.
Bob Silverthorne with Salt Lake Fire took a ride on Chopper 5 to survey the aftermath and reflect on the battle that crews faced overnight.
Cutting holes into the roof, and at that point we kind of had to abandon because the building was under assault by the fire itself.
What became apparent was how important aerial views were in the firefight itself.
They were critical for us to have eyes like I do right now on top of the building, not just from a camera standpoint, but from an infrared standpoint.
Crews used a police drone to help direct their attack.
We can kind of actually see where our lines are being placed. We can direct the aerial master streams on where the highest heat signature is.
Even at that, the fire left behind $5 million in losses.
This is also an opportunity to dissect if our strategies and tactics were consistent with our incident priorities. So we dive deep into this stuff, and obviously we try to get better and better each and every day.
Not lost, though, among the remnants of these buildings was what else was saved.
I'm really proud of our firefighters for making a stop. As you can see, the buildings to the north and south are relatively intact.
In the end, everyone went home. Perspective crews say that can't be overlooked.
You know, we take these things pretty seriously, especially historic buildings like this. Yeah, we're just really thankful and humbled.
Really, so many factors in play with a fire like this. Smoke was a big problem last night, not just because of visibility, but also because of the potential toxins that smoke and fire puts out. At one point, crews had to move their command post because of it. Back to you guys.
Andrew, thank you. You know, you referred to that business that was saved, and we actually talked to one of the business owners right next door to the devastation. Their business was intact. They were so grateful to firefighters for saving what they could. So there are both stories of that here on the street tonight. Now, city leaders who are dealing with business say this is such a loss to the heart of Salt Lake's social scene.
This is ground zero of our entertainment district. There are 220 businesses, merchants, restaurants, bars that fan out around here. So this is a devastating loss.
Business owners have expressed plans to rebuild. We're told these buildings have long been part of the fabric of Salt Lake City. Their history goes back more than 100 years. And that's what we also wanted to talk about tonight, was the history of this area. News specialist Shelby Lofton talked with some historians about the role that some of these buildings have played over the decades. Shelby?
That's right, Deanie. We talked to a historian about the backstory of these properties that have been standing in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City for decades. She's really hopeful that they'll be able to be preserved, but she said this is just another huge loss of a historic landmark here in Salt Lake City.
People that would come into town would ask, where's a place to go? And I would always recommend this whole area.
This stretch of downtown is bursting with people on a Friday or Saturday night.
Everybody feeling the positive vibe of downtown. And that's dearly going to be missed. I mean, look at this. It's tragic.
Now, crowds gather behind this fence, taking in the charred remains.
To see just a block, a whole section of buildings to just kind of be wiped out all of a sudden, it's a jarring experience.
Brandy Strand with Preservation Utah says the buildings that housed Los Tapatíos, London Bell, Whiskey Street, and Whitehorse are staples of downtown.
They're definitely at least 100 years old.
That's when this section of Main went by a different name.
In the early 1900s, Main Street was Whiskey Street, but we had a thriving alcohol industry. We actually have quite a few beer providers and beer creators.
Strand says it'll take a lot to rebuild.
A lot of times, we think, we can just build it back. There's no replicating the materials that were used to build those buildings.
She and patrons of these businesses hope the charm and vibrance of this corner of our city returns.
How can you salvage this?
Now, Preservation Utah told me they'll be doing a deep dive on this stretch of buildings. They said watch out on their social media for those updates. And when we were on the scene just a little bit ago, earlier today, we saw crews doing just the beginning stages of cleanup, a long road ahead, and the journey to rebuild. I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, Shelby, it will be a long road to rebuild. Thank you for that report. So we've seen the historic loss, but coming up in a few minutes, we'll also talk about the business loss and the income loss for around 200 people who worked among these businesses. We'll have that in just a few minutes, but for now, back to you in the studio, Mike.
Affects a lot of individuals and their families. All right, Deanie, thank you. Firefighters preparing to update community members near the Hayuinas within the next hour here. They're hosting a community meeting at a church in Evanston, Wyoming to discuss the Beulah fire. Now, since sparking on Thursday, fires burned more than 3,000 acres, forcing the closure of popular trails and campgrounds within the mountain range. Management teams say crews are working to stop that fire from spreading to popular meadows. They tell us the fire is being fueled by a large amount of already dead trees and vegetation. With more than 700 wildfires this year alone, firefighters are not taking any chances. News specialist Jody Reynoso was out with UFA crews today doing fire mitigation and joins us now with an exclusive look behind the scenes.
I'm here in Big Cottonwood Canyon, where hikers and campers just love the beauty of the trees, the mountains, the rivers. But UFA says it poses the most serious risk. Take a look at what fire crews are doing to lower that risk.
The mission for today, just kind of like the last couple of days, is just fuel mitigation work for the homeowners up here at Brighton.
Wildland Fire Specialist Tyrell Osterud preps his fuel mitigation crew for the mission ahead.
Reason being is these trees are dead or on their way out.
Creating dangerous fuel.
So they're going to cause somewhat of a fire hazard in the near future.
The reason this crew of 8 has a well laid out plan.
Once we get them on the ground,
these trees marked with orange ribbons.
We'll buck them up, limb them up, and then we will place all of the heavies over here for firewood.
After the tree's cut, this is one of the most important parts, clearing all of that, creating this line so that we can mitigate any future fire fuel. All dry.
Yeah, this is what I would want to start a fire.
Something UFA crews have tried to prevent since the first deployment in 2018.
Our fuels crew comes out from April through October. They work with homeowners, they work with the community. We recognize and we point out threats.
Even with mitigation measures in place, UFA says they still need your help. Fire safety and prevention takes a village, they say. Reporting in Big Cottonwood Canyon, Jody Reynosa, KSL 5 News.
When we come back, what the loss of these 5 businesses mean to business owners and their some 200 employees, and the road to recovery coming up.
And temperatures continue to climb. Look at the highs today, 96 in Salt Lake, 108 in St. George. Triple digits are in the forecast. I'll let you know when they move in, coming up next.
Chopper 5, Utah's only news helicopter, sponsored by Hadco Construction, building Utah from the ground up.
Enjoy the new car.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Welcome back to KSL 5 News at 6. I'm here in downtown Salt Lake, the site of a devastating fire right in the heart of Salt Lake's social district. You can see it started here at London Bell. The roof has collapsed. You can see right through that building, and it then burned down the two adjacent buildings and businesses there. So a lot of damage to report on. I had a chance to talk with the Salt Lake's mayor and Aaron Mendenhall, who told me this fire is a tragedy for the whole city.
I also know there's thousands of visitors who come to Salt Lake City for conventions and conferences and events who come here, and this is where they come back to every time they're in town. So.
Now, as we told you, historians say these buildings are also part of the city's history. They were used since 1920s, and the mayor talked about how she was going to expedite the building process, the rebuilding process for both the business owners and the employees. News specialist Alex Cabrero continues our team coverage along those lines. Alex, I know you've talked to business owners and they're hurting. What we're seeing down here right now, and I know they're aware of, is dozens of the employees who would have reported to work tonight. They are down here consoling each other and really emotional over losing their community, and that's something the business owners are also concerned about.
Oh, absolutely right, Deanie. I chatted with a few of those workers. They don't have a job tonight simply because the places where they worked, well, they're not in operation right now because of this fire. That's about 200 workers total that are affected. Now, I spoke with the owner of Whiskey Street and Whitehorse, and he said the workers out of jobs, he says, honestly, that is the toughest part of it all.
When Jason LeCates finally made it to Main Street late last night.
Just kind of washed, couldn't even see through the smoke, it was so thick. You could just see the aerial attack from the two ladder trucks.
13 years of Whiskey Street, 8 years of Whitehorse, gone in just a few hours.
I mean, it's awful to have it be your business. Two of your businesses going up in flames.
But his thoughts now aren't just about his businesses. They're about his workers.
You know, it's going to take a couple of days to get through the insurance, to get the insurance rolling, but it sounds like there's coverage through insurance that will help with payroll and whatnot.
It would help people like Ariel Johnson, who has only worked here a few months, but already feels like family.
It's definitely heartbreaking, and I just feel really bad for him, and I love that he's concerned for his employees, but I think his employees are more concerned for him than ourselves.
They don't know what's next, but LeCates does know he will rebuild.
I'm just not going to let this beat us.
And when firefighters found an American flag in the rubble that didn't burn,
that's awesome.
They folded it and gave it to him. He thinks it's a sign the businesses will survive.
I mean, we worked way too hard for this. This was blood, sweat, and tears. This was my life journey.
And within the past couple of hours, the Downtown Alliance and Salt Lake City have announced a Main Street Fire Employee Assistance Program where 100% of donations will go to the workers that work there affected by this fire for things like rent, groceries, transportation. You could go to the Downtown Alliance website for a link there. We will also put a link on our website version of the story on KSLTV.com. Deanie?
Yeah, Alex, she mentioned that if people want to help, there's a fund to help the employees and to also support the businesses that are existing, that are staying here in downtown. That will help support the city as well and the people involved. So as you can see, the cleanup process and the assessment is just beginning. It's going to be a long process, and we'll continue to cover that part of it as we move forward. For now, though, you can download the KSL Plus app and make sure we broke this story through that app so you can make sure to get the latest reports on that. For now, Mike, we'll toss it back to you.
Yeah, devastating all around for a number of families and these business owners. All right, Deanie, thank you. Great coverage out there tonight. Let's bring Kevin in right now. And Kevin, we were talking about some of the smoke last night. As I was going home, you could just see it kind of all over the valley. In fact, the moon, it was this full moon, but it looked a little bit eerie with all that smoke.
It was pretty eerie. On my way back into work, just after the fire started, that smoke was coming off of downtown and then spreading out towards the freeway.
Wow.
And it looked really eerie. It was like, oh man, there's something big going on, and it obviously was. Let me go and show you Ensign Peak this afternoon. This is a live view. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures jumped into the mid-90s today, but it's going to get even hotter tomorrow. In fact, we're headed back to 100 degrees plus. Flaming Gorge, a nice afternoon up in northeastern Utah. A few clouds over the gorge, but it's nice. You can see the marina, a couple boats that are pulling in or pulling out, and nice weather. Let's talk about some of the temperatures in our waterways. This is the current numbers. Bear Lake, 71 degrees. Flaming Gorge, 73. We're at 71 at Jordanelle. Pineview, 75. 76 at Utah Lake with upper 70s to near 80 degrees. Last week we were in the 80s at both Sand Hollow and Lake Powell. Today, down just a smidge. But bottom line, those are some really nice water temperatures across the state. So if you're looking to get out and enjoy the last couple of weeks of summer, well, there you go. 96 in Salt Lake City, 112 in Las Vegas. How about 112 as well in Phoenix? Denver's in the 80s, Cheyenne's in the 80s, but 90s for Cody and Great Falls, Boise and Medford and Reno, all 102 to 104. Even Portland is flirting with 99 and Seattle 92. That high pressure over the west is definitely producing the heat. Low 90s in Logan and Ogden, mid 90s in Salt Lake right now. We're at 94 degrees in Cedar City, with Las Vegas at 111, but mostly sunny skies across the state. The reason? Again, the presence of the big high pressure that's sitting over Nevada, and it's shielding us from a whole lot of development. However, you'll notice, again, around the periphery of the high is where we get some of those clouds, some of the buildup in the afternoon. The high is going to move over the next 24 to 48 hours, and as it does, it's going to reintroduce the chance for some clouds and some buildup. So tomorrow, that periphery is over in Nevada, Idaho, and rolling into Wyoming. But moving through Thursday, you'll notice that that periphery moves a bit as the high slides over to the east. We find ourselves on Thursday afternoon with buildups over the mountains, more cloud cover across northern Utah, and by Friday, well, chance for thunderstorms to creep even into the valleys, Park City, the Uintas. That's a good thing. If we can get some rain up on the Beulah fire and the Monroe fire, awesome. What we wouldn't give to get that rain, the hope is we get more rain and less gusts of wind and lightning out of those particular storms. 97 degrees in Nephi tomorrow, 102 in Green River, 96 degrees in Richfield. St. George 107, Mesquite to 111, and Moab to 102. So another hot, dry, and breezy day across the state. St. George 107, and the trend is actually down. We'll introduce a chance of thunderstorms coming in on Friday at 40%. Not looking at a lot of rain for St. George, but some gusty winds and some buildup is definitely possible. And then we settle into that 101, 102 for the end of the weekend, the first of next week. Logan goes to 98 tomorrow, 89 in Evanston, 95 in Heber City, but 100 plus in West Valley, Salt Lake, Sandy, 97 degrees in Eagle Mountain. It should be a partly cloudy day. We'll start with some sunshine, and then those clouds will roll in by the afternoon. 7-day forecast, only one day of triple digits in the 7-day, and then we'll trend back to the mid-90s, bring in a chance of a few isolated storms. The mountains get it Thursday afternoon, then Friday, Saturday, the valleys have a 40% chance. Mike, you don't see any rain on that map, although there is a chance for a little bit of rain. I think this is going to be a little bit more huff and puff with the winds and the thunder, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Kevin. All right, JJ, what's going on in Provo right now?
We have some movement. The quarterback battle is now down to 2. Which 2 quarterbacks are taking first-team reps? And is true freshman Bear Bachmeier still in the mix? We've got an update straight from Aaron Roderick next.
KSL weather sponsored by Beehive Plumbing. Protect your home with Beehive Premier Service. Expert experience every time.
It's summer event time, Sam. Great time to buy.
A Ford F-Series truck.
Take your pick. Gas,